Hey y'all, today on the farm it is mid-July and we're about to plant some pumpkins. For those y'all unfamiliar with this channel, my name is Patrick Shivers. I am a farmer in Southwest Georgia, and a couple of years ago I come up with an idea for what I call perpetual harvest. And what perpetual harvest is most farmers plant a crop. At the end of the crop season, they harvest. So in the fall, they harvest, and they get paid when they sell their crops. So they get paid once or twice a year. I had a crazy idea of wanting to get paid all year. So in order to harvest and get paid all year, I have to plant all year. I'm always planting, I'm always harvesting, which means I always got a little bit of income coming in, or that's the goal at least. It takes, right now I'm up to about 10 months out of the year. I'm trying to work my way to 12. It takes a lot of crops, a lot of variation, a lot of knowledge to grow all those different things, but we're working towards it and getting closer and closer each year. Today, we're gonna be planting pumpkins, and we're gonna be doing it with a little bit of vintage equipment. I have a Massey Ferguson 135 here. For those y'all unfamiliar with these vintage Massey Fergusons, the 135 and the 165 are two of the most reliable tractors ever made on earth. I love these tractors. Them Perkins engines in them are hyper reliable. They are a little quirky with the lift and the PTO work a little quirky, not the same as John Deere, but these tractors fire off, they run, they crank. I love them. I love old vintage Massey Fergusons. And coincidentally, I hadn't run any new Massey Fergusons, but Massey Ferguson is the only tractor manufacturer I'm aware of that still puts metal hoods even on the new tractors. Their brand new ones don't have fiberglass hoods, they have metal on the new ones, and I love that. I love reliable equipment. And on the topic of reliable equipment, we're gonna be planting these pumpkins with a John Deere 71. This is an epic planter. These planters are super old, super basic, but this is probably the most reliable planter system ever conceived by man. These millions of acres have been planted with these, not this particular one, but with this design, this model. Great, super reliable, super basic planters designed by John Deere, and they've been in use, these things, since, I don't know if they come out in the late 50s, maybe some of y'all know, but somewhere around the 50s, early 60s they come out, and people are still using 71s to this day. Just like last year, I'm gonna be planting orange bulldog pumpkins. These are developed by the University of Georgia, specifically for South Georgia. We have a difficult time growing pumpkins down here because of our humidity. It causes a lot of disease, a lot of problems with growing pumpkins. But UGA did their homework, and they come up with a variety that works great with our high humidity and our high heat. Last year, I planted an acre of pumpkins by hand. That's right. Bottom plowed it. Used a field cultivator to get nice and smooth and level. And I brought the 12-row planters out here and made the rows with them. And I came in there after a rain, waited for a big rain. I walked out there and I take a step, mash the seed in the ground. Take a step, mash the seed in the ground. I did that on every other row. So I had a 6-foot row spacing and a 2 to 3 foot between plants in the row spacing. This year, I'm planting them right here next to the grain sorghum. So it's a no-till situation, and it's very difficult to plant no-till pumpkins by hand. Very difficult. So that's why we borrowed a planter. We're gonna do it with a planter. I did plant some already by hand in this spot and about a 1/4 acre over there. We have some Deal's Atlantic Giant growing here, and we have another variety of brown warty pumpkin that a viewer sent me. We planted some last year with great success, and we saved some seed from them, and we're going again on those. Tractor is equipped with the Gen 1 guidance system, the first ever guidance system. It is a simple bracket with a rod that has a 90-degree turn in it. When you're driving the tractor, you can look down right here. You can see that rod, and this is flowing right on the road. It's got a road laid off right here. I don't know if you middles back in the day. And so you would set your lift arms where there was no sway in them, where your plow would stay straight. And then you put that rod on your front axle. And you could watch that rod while you drive. And that way you would know you wasn't getting off the road, because if you had to turn around and look at your plow to see if you were plowing up cotton or plowing up corn, then you would a lot of times turn the steering wheel. So that little rod on the front axle allows you to drive straight while looking forward, knowing that your plow behind you is not messing up your crop. Early technology, it always works. I love seeing these old tractors with that Gen 1 guidance on them. Y'all will notice that even though this is a cover crop, no-till situation, there is still a lot of nut grass, what some of y'all Yankees call yellow nut sedge, but us Southerners call nut grass. There's nut grass here. Here's pigweed here. There is some coffee weed and morning glory. Here's coffee weed right here. I saw some small flower morning glory. I hadn't seen any inverted leaf morning glory, but there's at least small flower morning glories out here. So there's a lot of weeds, and all these weeds I've mentioned are among the most difficult weeds there are to kill. Here's small flower morning glories. If you're not familiar with the morning, well, that's actually, yeah, that's a small flower morning glory. The inverted leaf morning glory has a little bit fancier leaf on it, but the small flower is harder to kill than inverted leaf. Yellow nut sedge harder to kill than purple nut sedge. Pigweed almost impossible to kill, and coffee weed's not that easy to kill either. So what I'm going to do here, I've planted the pumpkins a little bit thicker than normal. I'm planting on 6-foot rows, and last year I planted 2-foot in row, but this year with this planter it's spacing a little closer. It's around 1 foot to 18 inches. So it's a little tight. I'm about to come in here and pull some plants out in between in the row. I'm about to pull a few plants out, but what I'm going to do first, I'm going to let them come up and we're going to see how quick we can shade the ground out. Then we may pull a few. But before any of them break ground, I'm gonna come in here with a pre-emergent herbicide. I'm gonna spray Gramoxone out here. I'm gonna burn off everything above ground so it's all dead. So, good example here of no-till, and you still get weeds with a cover crop. Cover crop, no-till. Weeds aren't always triggered by tillage. A lot of people have you believe that tilling triggers weed growth, and tilling the soil and then introducing moisture does encourage more seeds to germinate. But the weeds themselves often germinate due to sunlight hours or temperature. Has nothing to do with whether you tilled the ground or whether you planted a cover crop or not. We have some weeds that their seeds will lay there dormant all year, and when the ground temperature gets a certain temperature, regardless of what cultural practices you put in place, then that seed germinates. We have other seeds that it doesn't matter what you've done, when the daylight hours reach a certain amount of hours in a day, then that seed germinates and comes up. So no tilling and cover cropping doesn't stop weeds. It suppresses them, but it does not stop them. Good example here. Plenty of weeds here. No-till cover crop, loads of weeds. Well, that's going to do it for today. I got most of my pumpkin seeds planted. I have a few of them left in the bag, and I will put them in some careful storage because I had a mouse get in them last year, and It'll make you cry when a mouse eats $100 a pound pumpkin seed. That's no good. But anyway, we got the pumpkins planted. I have 4 varieties of pumpkins this year. Last year I had 3. I added 1 variety this year. I hope y'all learned a little bit something about Massey Fergusons and no-till versus till, and spray versus no spray. I try to provide as much educational farming information as I can to my viewers. I hope y'all learned something. I hope to see you next time.